Okay, nothing further. Just see the cabbie in the corner.
The 28th of November, 2022. Calling 911 is Whitcomb 911's preferred way for you to contact them in the case of an emergency, but they understand that there are circumstances that make texting a safer option. Text 911 if you cannot call. Your safety is priority. Currently, Whitcomb employs 8 full-time and 4 part-time dispatchers, but their preferred staff capacity is 22 employees. Wendy Barrett, Executive Director at Whitcomb, said it's been a decade since they've had a full staff. Having 2 to 3 dispatchers on shift at a time, calls can add up quickly. Answering up to 300 calls a day. Sometimes dispatchers on call can't afford to use the bathroom or take a lunch break. Dispatchers Ashlyn Tessel, front, and Emily McInturff respond to 911 calls at the Whitcomb Emergency Center in Pullman on Wednesday. Non-stop, and dispatchers must stay vigilant as the calls come into Whitcomb 911-1 and some days there are as many as 300. Whitcomb 911-1 has been making do with a short-staffed office for some time, which rapidly declined since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, Executive Director Wendy Barrett said. In June, the call center announced their staff capacity was as low as ever, with a team of only 8 full-time and 4 part-time dispatchers. Employees had to pick up the slack, usually by working overtime to help cover shifts, Whitcomb Supervisor Susan Waltz said. Currently, the call center has 10 full-time dispatchers with 1 still in training, 6 part-time dispatchers and 2 call takers, said Barrett. Though the call agency's preferred staff capacity is 22 employees, they haven't had a full staff in a decade. All part-time dispatchers had formerly worked at Whitcomb. Waltz added they came back for various reasons but mainly because you can't get it out of your blood. Whitcomb 911-1 is an emergency and non-emergency call center, handling dispatch calls in Whitman and Assateague counties in Washington, and the city of Moscow in Idaho. They provide dispatch services to all first responder agencies in the area, including police, fire and EMS. Barrett said the center has also provided 911 texting services for many years. Barrett said the center has also provided 911 texting services for many years. Nationwide, text to 911 has been seen as a solution for people seeking emergency help who can't call 911. But there's a major problem. A lot of people don't realize that when they send a text message to 911, 911 doesn't necessarily know exactly where they are located, said Gabriella Wong, founder of Access Source.
In an emergency, when you can't talk, a text to 911 might be safer. But here's the rub. Texting 911 isn't as accurate as calling 911. An NBC investigation found that a text to 911 doesn't always reveal the location of the person texting. And without that location data, first responders can't do anything to help you. So, the workaround? If possible, text your address to 911. If you're not sure of the address, call 911 and keep the line open without speaking. They'll likely dispatch help to verify your location to see if there is a problem.
Gemma, this is a fascinating fact that I discovered right before air, and that is that your husband had friends who actually lived in that home, and that he was able to give you a description that those two basement bedrooms were once a separate apartment unit. And I'm curious to know if your husband knew if there was an additional door that locked away from the upper floors, meaning when you walk in that front door and you turn and you go up the stairs to the second story, is there a door that could be locked that may have protected the two girls living in those bedrooms downstairs from the horrors that we're having upstairs?
Well, let me clarify something. So yes, when my husband was in law school at the University of Idaho many years ago, he actually lived in a home that you see in some of those pictures, and a friend of ours did live in that actual home. There was not a bottom floor apartment. In fact, it was just the first two levels of that home. Since then, that entire backside, that when you see the big picture of the home, has been completely added. So there were two bedrooms on the lower floor. That front door that you see that has the keypad, that's where the door was. So not a separate apartment, but definitely a big, huge addition, as you just saw, has been added in those 25 plus years.
And you're saying that addition is this back area, the third
Correct.
floor that rises up from the sliding glass door in the kitchen on the bottom level there, and then the sliding glass door in Kaylee's room, which is on the third floor. It's that back part that you're saying was brand new.
So my understanding, Ashley, is it's that entire back part. So it's even where that back patio is and where the deck is. All of that has been added on in 25 years. So the home has gone from a 2-bedroom home to that big 6-bedroom home.
We're looking at the second and third story of this home. And as you look, these are the two sections where the bodies were supposed to have been found, on the second and third floor.
Ted Williams is not only a Fox News contributor but also a renowned criminal and civil trial attorney who has worked on many high-profile cases. Would he get his facts wrong here, or have we been misled yet again? Could there have been some room swapping prior to the massacre since Kaylee, allegedly, moved out? Wouldn't this make more sense? If Lee already misled us regarding the rooms and other matters, can we be confident that they haven't misled us on which room Dylan was apparently living in on the second floor? They need an eyewitness after all. Or is Ted Williams losing the plot? Is it really plausible that this individual walked right by Dylan? Or is it more plausible that the reason the front door was seen to be wide open around 8 a.m. was because that's the way the individual or individuals left? Or could it even be the case that the intruders left through different doors? Or is it time for Ted Williams to retire? It appears from the rest of this video below that new evidence or a new witness or maybe new video footage did in fact cause the police to belatedly take the action that you see in the full video. Do they have evidence that someone traversed that area? Perhaps there was only one perpetrator and they did leave that way. Perhaps they have an eyewitness that they can't, for some reason, use, so they needed to create another one.
this dark night, it's too hard for me to say now if the rays of hope will shine again someday, and if I might be spared as the tempest starts to swell. At this point, it's just too dark to tell. Was the stars guiding me to God's shores now? Was the devil set me drifting once more? Will these clouds ever lift and the map again reveal? At this point, it's just too dark to tell. If these green-eyed blues would lighten up, if my nature would shake this wicked spell, if this midnight sky would brighten up, if my ears could hear a voice saying, all will be well, then all is well, all is well.